Folks, you want to sell your property, but you're just not ready to make a price adjustment? Look at this information and you decide if it's time to make a change. And anytime that you're looking at a property, oftentimes there's reason we don't want to reduce our price. 1, we have an appraisal. 2, we know a neighbor that sold. 3, we made so many improvements and things in our property, it doesn't make economic sense to change the price. 4, our homes are better than the competition. This is the difference, folks, just to be aware of. Is it time for a price cut? Maybe it is. But these are the things I want you to look at for you to make the most educated way to know whether you should make a change, especially if your agent is recommending it to you. These are the things you're going to want to check into. First and foremost, one of the things that I look into is I will tell you, what is the market doing? For example, if I look at our current market here locally in the Wasatch front, we currently have about inventory of active listings are up 30% compared to this time last year. On one of the properties I visited that they were having a tough time selling, inventory there was up 70% compared to this time last year. What does that mean? It just means the market's really different than when they were looking at their values a year ago. So understand the dynamics. What's your competition? Is it going up? And then the next thing to consider is, if I look at our current market, average days on market, almost 50%. Folks, when you have average days on market, it typically isn't because homes aren't selling. It's because people aren't making the adjustment to the current market standard. And so you're seeing it priced here, and then the majority of properties are then dropping over time. And so that bleeds into more time on market. This is the worst thing. And think about this in your home. What does time do the longer that a home sits in the eyes of consumer? And what I will tell you is it kills all value and negotiation power, because oftentimes really the goal would be to attract so many people that you create multiple offers as opposed to really negotiating against yourself. And that's the problem, is sometimes, I'm guilty of it myself. I purchase, renovate, and do a number of homes. One of the properties I just purchased and renovated and sold, I thought I was going to sell that property for like $475,000, really an economic home in a great location. And I thought, man, I get $475,000. We did an amazing renovation. It took us 6 months. Guess what, folks? Over time, through the showing, through the activity, through the market, through showing the amount of properties on the market, 475, 450, 435, sold. Okay, but I made those changes quickly. I made it very effectively. It was on the market less than the average of the 53 days. Why? Because I knew at 475, based on the next point to be aware of, what is the market saying? The feedback. What's the feedback saying? The feedback on my property was just saying, listen, you're probably just a little bit high. Why? This, and this. All right, let's see what the next person. You're probably a little bit high. This, and this. What about the renovations? What about the updates? Yeah, they're fantastic, but guess what? They aren't going to validate that price in this location at this price point. I'd recommend you probably make a change. We're moving on to another property. And then next is, when you get that feedback, it helps you understand. The third point is, are you helping the competition sell? We loved your home, but we went and bought one under contract, under essentially $450,000, not $475,000. And that property had more square footage, more land, more opportunity for my clients. So it helps you evaluate, what is the competition? Where are they going? Look at them side by side, visually, look and see what's the new homes on the market. What is currently under contract? My recommendation is when we put a home on the market, we're going to look and just see, hey, what essentially has happened over the last 30 days since we evaluated this 30 or 45 days ago. And then finally, after you have evaluated the market, what's going on in your current market? 2, you've looked at your pricing and where you're at and any feedback that you've received. And then 3, you've really looked at your competition. What are the sales of what's occurring? Part 4 is what needs to happen next. Is that adjustment going to be big? Is it going to be small? And how much should I do? You have a $1 million home and you're making a $10,000 adjustment. Do you really feel like that's going to make an adjustment in the market? I will tell you, if you're going to make a change, make it something that is compelling to the market, something that's going to allow people to say, man, I really want to take a look at that. You don't have to accept any offer that comes in the door, but what you do want to do is you want to market it so that you can sell it, because typically you're selling for the next opportunity. Folks, if you're really hesitating on a price adjustment because you're like, you know what, never mind, not going to do anything, I'm just going to wait it out, I'm going to wait till the prices come to my point, you're going to have to live somewhere. The market you sell in is the market you buy. So if you end up saying, hey, I just want to wait till my price comes up, guess what? The property you buy is going to be at the same price. It's very rare, unless you're going to a completely different market, that you're going to end up selling at a high and buying at a low. Because if you're buying at a low, you're typically buying in a location, area, or zip code that maybe is a little blighted. It's a little different than the current market. It's not something that's going to reach your market standard. The home you sell in is typically the type of home you buy. Sometimes I always say, if you buy new construction, you never go back. So just know that hesitating and waiting for the market to catch you, yes, that is a way for people to do it. But typically, you're never going to time the market accordingly. You're never going to be able to predict it. And just know that the home that you sell at that price, you're going to be able, if the price you feel is low in the market, guess what? The home you're going to get is going to be also probably a negotiable price. So just put it in perspective. So if you're hesitating, having a problem with a price adjustment, just evaluate the data. Look at the information. Compare them visually. Look at your competition. Understand the feedback at a high level. If they're looking on the market at 10, 15, 20 properties, and their feedback is such that you need to maybe make an improvement to the physical property, or you need to make a price adjustment, and do it. Make sure you're doing it very quickly. This time on market does not help a buyer. So anyway, if you've been hesitating to get out a price adjustment, just look at the information, be very strategic, and make a change quickly. There's no reason to wait, especially if you're looking to get into your next home. Folks, if you need any help in evaluating the market, what's going on, what are the things, what's the competition in your market you should be aware of, reach out. Happy to get you the information you're looking for. Best of luck. Talk to you soon.